Howdy everyone. So this is a follow-up on the 3D printer, particularly the Monoprice Voxel or Adventure 3. Same thing. So here you can see, you guys have probably heard me talk about the raft before, how sometimes you're going to have to start using a raft because you can't get that base to print perfectly. So here's this printer that I've been using for quite some time now. This is my replacement model that I got after my gearbox went out. And you can see that I'm not using a raft. So someone had made a comment on this because they have one and they have to do a raft every time. And that can get obnoxious because it can really ruin your bottom layer. And it can make it really difficult to pull off prints. Like here's one of my mini prints. It can make it difficult to get that nice smooth bottom that you're used to. And so in order to resolve that, let me go ahead and pull this over here to the computer real quick. So here's the print. I'm actually printing some Sellers of Catan pieces to replace the ones that I have that came with the box. So what I'm going to show you is when I go to the print, we're going to go to advanced settings. And actually, just in case you don't know how to get here, with flash print, which I'd recommend to use, go ahead and go to preferences and then enable expert mode here. Then when you go to print, you're going to get all these new settings. So let's talk about why the raft succeeds in the first place. So first off, the raft by default has a lot thicker millimeter for the first height, and it also is a lot slower on its speed. That's one of the huge things that helps. There's a few other things why it succeeds, but the biggest part about why it succeeds has to do with this bottom layer information right here. So now let's go over to general. And if we take a look, I've actually modified this. So by default, the first layer height is going to be 0.27. So I matched it, and then I came over here and I changed the speed, and sorry for the shaky video, to be 10 and 10. With that, it allows me to print off without having to use a raft. Now, there are times that I do use a raft. It really depends on what I'm doing with the printer. But if you're interested in just getting rid of that raft, getting the nice smooth bottoms, as you see on these prints right here, as I have a ton, I've got a little bit of a mess going on right here just because I've had to set up a new printer for my wife, the Elegoo Mars, which we use to print these little guys. A little bit better of a character quality print that comes out of it. You can see the fine detail on there. If you guys are interested, sorry, there we go, in a video on that one, then just let us know and we'll work something out. But if you're interested in getting those smooth bottoms again and having to get rid of the raft because it's obnoxious to you, then just go ahead and make sure you change your general settings to match the raft settings, because there's a reason the raft succeeds, and it has to do with that bottom layer height. And as long as you're matching it, you're going to be fine. Now you can come in here and change this so that that's like 5 or 8 milliseconds, make it even slower. That will be good. And you can also tell I have modified the base print speed for standard here. I moved it down to 50. I think it's 60 by default, and I think the travel speed was a lot higher. I would recommend that. You can mess with the retraction slightly. Be careful with the retraction. If you do mess with it too much, then you're going to have an issue where that nozzle right there is going to get jammed up, which of course you don't want. Pretty easy fix. You just heat up the extruder to about 225 and then jam that little needle that came with it down the extruder. And there's instructions online on how to remove, but basically there's just a little switch there in the back so you can remove the extruder. But yeah, you want to avoid that as much as possible. And then also, just to let you guys know, in case you guys are interested, I am using new filament. I'm no longer using a Hatchbox. I'm using Overture. I can't really show you too well, but I'll try. So this is the filament which I am using. And it is just as good as Hatchbox. It's nice because it is just matched with whatever the default is in here, the 210. And it produces some pretty high quality, durable prints. anyways, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to ping me. I'll do my best to answer them. I hope you enjoy this. If you guys do have a Monoprice Voxel, then great for you. They're fantastic little devices. I really love them.